Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 11th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hopefully this day treated you well. As for me, I would say it was pretty good. It was good overall. you know what that means usually. It means what it means. It was a good day when I actually take myself out of it and I just go by the play-by-play. But I was in my head for most of the day. I don't know. I was in a bad mood for most of the day. I just couldn't shake it. I had like one teeny tiny bad interaction with the person. And I did all of my protocol to like literally preserve the moment, preserve the day, like saying, hey, you're pissing me off. I'm gonna just snap you away from my life and I'm gonna keep it moving and it's gonna be fine. And it was, but it was like someone flipped a switch in me and I was just bummed out for the whole day, at least internally. I faked the funk a couple of times. Post work, I got, a conversation in at the gym talking to somebody. It was cool, but like, I don't know. Even the workout was kind of like, but we'll do a quick rundown. So, we start the day, we get to work. Work was working. It's been busy. It's been cold. We march along. We keep it going. We keep it moving. We were able to fill up the crusher, so that's good. That's a W overall. No hiccups, no problem. So the day was good. Then we get to the gym. Gym was busy. Smith machine taken up. I was able to get on free weights today, though, so that was good. Kind of a little bit of balance between the 2 days. And I was able to get all my, the rest of my equipment that I wanted to hit. Got the rest of my movements done, so that was good. But even my cardio was kind of a bit mushy. I didn't have it in me for some reason. I also did a thing where I bonked my head a little bit with the free weights. And it doesn't matter without fail whether I bonk my shit hard or it's super light. It just feels like I'm concussed. I'm just like, oh gosh, ow, ooh. So everything kind of hit, and I was just not in a good mood or a good place. But I got everything done. Even though today was not the greatest workout, I reminded myself when I got home. I'm like, look, technically, the only bad workout you have is when you go in there and you get injured. Because if you get injured, especially to a point where you cannot come back 100% the next day, you cannot commit the next day, then that's bad. You can't come back from that technically for X amount of time. If you have a bad workout though, in terms of I didn't hit it as hard, I didn't do X or Y, fuck that. You showed up. At the end of the day, that is a W. So that is something I always tell myself, that even if I didn't have the greatest workout of all time, it doesn't matter. You showed up. You did something that you in the past you wouldn't have done, or it doesn't matter whether or not you would have done it in the past or not. You showed up today and you're going to show up tomorrow. So who cares? You know what I mean? Who gives a shit? Bad days happen. Good days are coming. That's all you really need to know. So that's kind of something I tell myself. I don't know if that'll work for you or not, but I get home. I kind of decompress a bit. And, overall, like I said, today was a good day. I don't want to let one tiny, minuscule moment rot my whole day, and then try to take that to a week or then try to take it to a month. I've definitely done that to myself before. You know what I'm saying? So I try my hardest. I try my best to keep a positive outlook, a positive mindset, because I think that can get you through so much. But yeah, that was my day. Like I said, overall good. We'll take an overall good day. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Oh man, oh man. All right. Our first story comes from CNN. U.S. military strikes two boats, killing 6 in Eastern Pacific. Bro, we're out here hitting 2-for-1s now. We're doing BOGO fucking butcher shit, I guess. Oh my god. The U.S. military carried out another attack against suspected drug boats on Sunday, killing 6 people in the Pacific, Eastern Pacific, according to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. And yet again, I always love iterating. No one is calling this motherfucker the Secretary of War. They're like, bro, we heard you. We don't care. The military launched two lethal strikes against 2 separate vessels operated by designated terrorist organizations, Hegseth wrote on X, without disclosing which organizations the ship's crew are believed to have been affiliated with. I'm just going to skip to my highlighted portion here. The U.S. military has killed 76 people in 19 strikes that have destroyed 20 boats as part of a campaign that Washington says is aimed at curtailing the flow of drugs into the United States. I've said this once, I'm sure I'll say this again, and sadly, maybe even many times in the future, because I don't see any signs of us slowing down or stopping here. Like I said, we're doing two for ones. It is crazy that we have escalated the war on drugs, the global war on terror, into this amalgamous, like, kill at will, we don't care about any kind of international law or repercussions, like, strategy. And I know, this is tale as old as time. We've been doing it since, like, the 70s, the 80s, whatever. But, like, the fact that we are just so bold, so mask off, that we are, like, taking the footage that I heard someone, I was listening to Chapo Trap House, they described it as snuff films, and like really that's what it is. It's like Trump saying like, hey, look at what we did last night, look at what we did like this morning, and it's just a video of us blowing up a fucking, you know, an alleged drug boat. And being like, see, we saved so many Americans today. You know how many drugs are on that boat? And you gotta pause, motherfucker. Do you? You don't know who was on that goddamn boat. You've yet to confirm any of that shit. So fuck you. Fuck that, man. But essentially, acting like he's doing us a favor. Acting like he's doing all this, he's doing this for America. No, motherfucker. You're just just making a spectacle. You're sacrificing literal human beings, just throwing away the whole fucking due process just to fucking have a show. Just to make some fucking points happen. For someone, I guess. I don't know. I've yet to hear anyone, excuse me, and I'm sure there are some people who are silently like, yeah, this is exactly what we need to do. Yeah, fuck the wall. Let's blow them up. I'm sure there's some sick fucking freak out there. And I'm sure I work with him or I go to see this motherfucker at Planet Fitness. I bet. But it is crazy logic to think that the average American wants to see this shit day in and day out. Once again, at least Obama and Biden were smart enough to try to do this shit in like a covert kind of way and not try to brag about it as fucking much. But I mean, Trump 2.0, nah. He I think he would love to have a channel where he just does this shit. You know what I mean? And you get a notification on your phone. I mean, but essentially that is what is happening. Like I literally get live tick updates via my goddamn news or some truth post that he fucking makes about how he just fucking eviscerated people today. So, I mean, there's that. We're starting off there. But let's move on from the BBC. Suicide bombing in Islamabad kills 12, says Pakistan's interior minister. A suicide attack outside a court in Pakistan's capital Islamabad has killed 12 people and injured at least 27 others, the country's interior minister said. Mohsin Naqvi, it's maybe something to that effect. Mohsin Naqvi, we're going to say that, said a bomber was planning to attack the district courthouse but was unable to get inside. Naqvi said authorities would prioritize identifying the bomber and that those involved would be brought to justice. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has alleged that extremist groups actively backed by India were involved. A spokesperson for the Indian government denied what they described as baseless and unfounded allegations. Let's see here. Jumat ul Ahrar, I'm mea culpa, I'm getting that wrong, I'm sure. But a splinter group of the Pakistani Taliban, or the TTP, has claimed responsibility, according to local media. But 2 local journalists have told the BBC that the TTP central leadership has sent messages to them saying it has no link to the explosion. Suicide blasts in Islamabad have been rare in the recent years. Footage from the scene on Tuesday showed the remains of a burnt out car and a police cordon in place. The 27 people injured are receiving medical treatment, Naqvi said. Now, I am going to go ahead and scroll ahead because they do reference the car explosion that took place in India on Monday. In a separate incident, a car exploded in India's capital city, Delhi, killing 8 people and injuring a number of others. Now, we don't know. We still don't know. I'm not really, segueing into this to give any update, unfortunately. We don't know if that was a terrorist-related incident. They say it's under investigation, but I don't really have any details post that. But it does seem like there's at least some momentum amongst the public that is like pushing that kind of narrative. Now, I'm not saying I'm riding along with that. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? This is out of my depth. Y'all know this, out of my range. But it is like, damn, like, both countries have had conflict, still have conflict. You had the one that happened Monday. You had this is happening today. Also, from the Pakistani end, the narrative is saying, oh, no, these are Indian proxies that are being put, besieged against us. That's what's happening here. Even though, you have like a group saying like, hey, we actually weren't connected to this. Even though that one group just said that shit, we're not claiming this. We're not claiming them. So I don't know. A lot is going on, a lot of moving fucking pieces. I will definitely try to come back for any more updates, either out of Pakistan, either out of India, Hopefully this doesn't escalate into another thing. But speaking of conflict, speaking of escalation, this is not on my notes to initially cover, but I did hear this listening to the BBC that Thailand has said, oh, we're actually calling off the ceasefire. There was a landmine incident and we're blaming that on Cambodia. They're clearly rearming mines. So we need to get kinetic. You guys need to leave the area. That was essentially what was being said. Cambodia, on the other hand, from what I've heard, they're saying, hey, whoa. We're committing to the ceasefire. We're not trying to do anything here. What's up? Where's the fire? So, keep you posted on that. I do try to talk about any and all fronts, any and all conflicts. Which, we're segueing from one thing into another. It really is one battle after another. It's one boom after another. No Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't know. But which I feel like that was a good movie, and I haven't seen it. I don't have a review to give you there, but that movie looks fucking good. That movie looks cool as hell. I generally actually am, like, most Leonardo DiCaprio movies I do fuck with. Like, ever since, like, I think I sat down to watch Blood Diamond, I was like, oh, this dude kind of got the motion, huh? Like, obviously there's Titanic, but I was not a Titanic guy. And I'm sure there's other movies too, but they're escaping me. I just remember Blood Diamond being really good because I was like, oh, look at this guy doing this Sophie freaking accent or whatever the fuck he was on. But that was a fucking good movie. I don't know how we got here. I'm sorry. Been in the weeds a bit, but let's go ahead and move on to our next story. Trying to add a little bit of levity, but we're going from one dark place to another. From The Guardian, TikTok influencer killed in public execution. They put that in quotations as Mali's jihadist crisis worsens. A TikTok influencer has been shot dead in front of a crowd by suspected jihadists in Mali, underlying how state control has been eroded in the West African nation. Miriam Cissé, which I'm hoping I'm getting her name correct, often wore combat attire to post videos in support of the country's military to more than 100,000 followers on TikTok. According to Tandina, I'm totally fucking that up, but I'm so sorry. The mayor of Timbuktu region. She was abducted in a market on Friday by unknown gunmen. At dusk the next day, the same men brought her back to Independence Square in Tonka and executed her in front of a crowd. Tandina told the Associated Press. The mayor said Cissé, who is believed to have been in her 20s, received death threats before her death. No one has claimed responsibility for the killing, but Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin, or the JNIM, a group linked to Al-Qaeda, is known to patrol Tonka, which is about 90 miles from Timbuktu. Only good thing about this whole fucking matter is I do get to say Timbuktu a couple times, so that's kind of nice. This young woman simply wanted to promote her community through her TikTok posts and encourage the Malian army and its missions to protect people and their property, said a report on state TV. The conflict in Mali began in 2012 when an uprising by Tuareg rebels was hijacked by jihadist groups linked to Al Qaeda and later Islamic State. Despite French-led interventions and a UN peace mission, violence spread southward as insurgents exploited local grievances, corruption, and weak governance. The military took control of the country in back-to-back coups in 2020 and 2021, after which tensions with Western allies deepened. The junta expelled French and UN forces, accusing them of interfering over human rights issues, and turned to Russia for support, including from Wagner mercenaries. Now, this is something I actually, now that I'm reading it out loud and thinking about it, I'm getting a bit of a brain blast, like flashback. I didn't cover this at the time. It was one of those things where I'm like, there's a lot of historical context here. There's a lot going on here. I don't necessarily have like a specific reference point, I felt, without once again giving a bunch of history backstory. So I just didn't cover it. It was a bit above my pay grade. Technically still kind of is. But a big trigger here was Wagner. I was like, oh shit, I definitely remember Wagner. I know Wagner. I think they go by a different name now, though some African countries still refer to them as Wagner. Like I think in Sudan, like that was something I'd heard recently. But I think they're called like Africa, like they might be Region Pacific, like West or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But they just go under a different name, and it's specific to like Africa. Like yeah, this is what we're doing. We're doing operations there. When it's like you're helping out like paramilitary organizations, and then you're like ganging up and like getting a bunch of like resources from the country and then taking it to Russia. That's so cool. That's awesome. It's not. It's bad. That's not good. The army has failed to end the insurgency, despite its promises to improve security, and tensions have developed within its ranks. The power grab only deepened its divisions, splitting the army between privileged loyalists of the regime and those sent to the front lines, said Rama Yadi, senior director of the Africa Center at the Atlantic Council think tank. Coupled with the departure of international forces from Mali, this fragmentation led to abandoned positions, weapons falling into the hands of separatists, and jihadists expanding their hold over the rural north. The jihadists have tightened control over key supply routes from neighboring Côte d'Ivoire, Mauritania. Wow, I'm stupid. I'm dumb, and I'm sorry. Mauritania. I'm assuming it's Mauritania. I've never said that word out loud in my life, so there you go. And Senegal. There you go. That's a word I know. That's a place I know. Fighters from JNIM have imposed a fuel blockade since September, crippling transport and leaving hospitals struggling. And the government has been forced to shut down schools indefinitely. In Bamako, the capital, and other cities, queues stretch for miles for increasingly costly fuel and food. France, the U.S., Germany, and Italy have issued warnings to their citizens to leave Mali urgently on commercial flights, saying the roads around the capital were unsafe. Although the junta is holding on for now, analysts and observers say the fall of the regime is likely within weeks or months. In a statement on Sunday, the African Union expressed deep concern over the rapidly deteriorating security situation in Mali, calling for urgent international coordination and intelligence sharing to help the junta restore stability. The worsening insecurity has led to a spike in kidnappings. 5 Indian workers were abducted last Thursday near Colbri in western Mali. On Sunday, JNIM claimed responsibility for the abduction of 3 Egyptian nationals and demanded $5 million to release them. All right, so yeah, this story, kind of more or less in 2 parts. Obviously talking about, the public. I mean, I feel that they amend to say that it isn't an execution, that they just shot her in public, whatever. But I understand why you would call it that. You took a person out in a public area and shot them to death. I don't in layman, that's close enough to me. That I'll round up. That's so tragic. That's so unfortunate. And essentially, this is just a person who's an influencer. That they're online. They're talking their shit, and like for that, they deserve to die. They deserve to get killed. So no, obviously not. Like, this definitely caught my attention. Definitely a huge bummer. Hopefully that there is some kind of change here. Where you can actually get stability, just in terms of, hey, if you're a person living in Mali, you don't have to worry about going out and getting shot, getting killed, or seeing something like that happen. Goddamn. So yeah, I felt pretty compelled to talk about the story, and, just wanted to highlight it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. I guess in one way it's a bit lighter. So there you go. From ABC News, Wendy's to close hundreds of underperforming U.S. locations. Wendy's is closing more U.S. restaurant locations amid a slump in sales across the fast food industry. In an earnings call on November 7th, Wendy's interim CEO Ken Cook. Ooh, that is a good name for a fast food CEO. God damn. Hey, my name is Ken Cook. Nice to meet you. Like, God damn. I mean, fuck this guy. I mean, he's about to just nuke a bunch of people's jobs. Confirmed that a mid-single-digit percentage of the chain's nearly 6,000 U.S. restaurants would be closing in the near future. We are working with our U.S. franchisees to evaluate each and every underperforming restaurant in our system from both the financial and the customer experience perspective, and developing action plans for how to improve both, Cook said in his remarks. A representative for Wendy's told ABC News they could not provide specific numbers or locations at this time. Cook's reference to a mid-single-digit percentage, however, could mean between 4 and 6% of the company's U.S. locations, or approximately 240 to 360 stores. Now, this is, to me, the dagger. Closures will be happening through the end of 2025, according to Cook. So, I mean, I don't know if that's actually very fast or slow, but imagine you get this kind of memo, and you're saying, hey, man, I hope you have a new job by the end of the year. And I know that for some people, you hear a job like Wendy's, maybe a Starbucks or whatever, and you just roll your eyes and you go, well, it's whatever. It's just another job. You can just get it. Those are a dime a dozen. No, they're fucking not. And even if they fucking are, a job is a motherfucking job. I hate this mentality of saying well, your job doesn't really matter as much. So it's an expendable, disposable thing. No, it is my livelihood, motherfucker. I come to this job to do what? Get fucking money so I can live. It's crazy that people just go, that really doesn't matter. That's small change shit. That's menial shit. No, man, it's someone's life. And also, no matter what the job is, you should be getting paid a living wage. We've talked about this, and we will continue to fucking talk about it. But the idea that you can just boom, you guys are just not really up to snuff anymore, and we need to save money. So you can do what, Mr. Cook? What are we gonna do? More dynamic pricing, so we can use the AI to make sure that we fucking min-max everyone's fucking orders throughout the whole fucking day. Is that what we're doing? So we can have an all robotic fucking, I don't know, fast food restaurant? Well, whatever the fuck. I don't know, man. It is wild to just see things just be eroded. And I don't even think this is going to take a long time. I think we are going to really, and you can say, hey, Isaiah, you got your tinfoil hat on, be chill, relax. But maybe less than a fucking decade from now, who knows who's going to be working amongst us? You know what I mean? Are you going to be in the same field of work? Or are you going to get downsized because of some fucking clinker and they can just have that do your job? You know what I mean? Or imagine, I'm sure I don't have that many younger listeners or whatever, but you're coming out of college and the job that you were, gearing up for, there's no entry position for you anymore. Because why? We have a fucking computer to do it. We got a laptop guy for that. We don't need you, actually. You know what I mean? So there goes that fucking future. I don't know, man. This shit is scary to me, and I think the more I look at this shit, the less I feel that people who have been barking at the fucking the roofs, they're on the hill being you guys gotta do something about it. They don't sound like Luddites to me, man. They really don't. You have to understand that this shit is happening, and the people up top do not fucking care. I've been like I said, I listen to, Odd Lots. I try to get on my economic shit when I can. I used to listen to a lot. I need to get back into Planet Money. I need to get back on my NPR shit, but that's for another thing. But I listen to a lot of economy shit. I'm trying to, stay up with the Joneses. Sorry, I'm losing my place here. 1 second. Is there anything else I wanted to pull from this Wendy's thing? No. And I'm just off the rails. I boop boop playing off the track. We're gonna go ahead and just take our last break, and then I'll go ahead and close it out with this recall. And if it comes back to me, I might just go back to the rant. Culpa. Sometimes these things happen. Anyway. Oh, oh. Now I remember. This is about Peter Thiel and Palantir. So I'm listening to Odd Lots. Gosh, I'm just complete brain fart. I'm sorry. I'm sure people just turn off the podcast. They're like, "What the fuck?" And essentially, the way the commercial goes is like, "Hey, I bet you've been hearing from a lot of people from Silicon Valley saying that AI is trying to take you out of a job. They're trying to replace you. Actually, that's not true. AI is here to enrich your life. AI is here to make everything better." Like I'm wildly paraphrasing it, but it's wild to literally like have that fucking thing, like have that fucking commercial fucking play when meanwhile like you're just seeing jobs getting deleted like left and right from like the biggest fucking companies like Amazon, or a Target or a Wendy's, whatever, because they're essentially just looking at the writing on the wall and they're like, we don't need all of these people. We need to trim as much fat as possible because shit is only going to get harder. This tariff shit is not cool. It's not Gucci, and not to mention we are all in on any kind of AI we can get, and that's it. We are not investing in people. We are not investing in any cool new products or things. Fuck that. Slop, 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 slop. So things are scary right now. I do not to freak you out, not to sky is falling, but you should be concerned. You should be a little worried. You know what I mean? At least be thinking about this kind of shit. For sure. You know what I mean? If anything, be as adaptable as you can. That would be my cue. Anyway, I don't know what happened there. I had a bit of a brain fart, but here we go. Sometimes the last break provides, and I got my center. We're back. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this recall from ABC News. ByHeart recalls all baby formula sold nationwide as infant botulism outbreak grows. ByHeart, a manufacturer of organic baby formula, recalled all of its products sold nationwide Tuesday, days after some batches were recalled in an expanding outbreak of infant botulism. At least 15 babies in 12 states have been sickened in an outbreak since August, with more cases pending, according to state and federal health officials. All of the infants were hospitalized by consuming ByHeart formula, officials said. No deaths have been reported. So, hey, at least there's a silver lining here. Yes, 15 being affected, that's crazy. Also, the fact that we got like 12 states involved, goddamn. But at least no deaths. We'll take that. We'll knock on some wood there. Oh, excuse me. ByHeart officials expanded the voluntary recall from 2 lots announced Saturday to all products in consumers' homes and in stores. That includes ByHeart Whole Nutrition Infant Formula and Anywhere pack pouches of powdered formula. The company sells about 200,000 cans of infant formula a month online and in stores such as Target, Walmart, Albertsons, and Whole Foods, according to Dr. Devin Kuhn. I'm sure I'm fucking that up, but Chief Medical Officer. Parents and caregivers who have the formula in their homes should immediately discontinue use and dispose of the product. Let's see here. So yeah, I mean, obviously, the buyer beware here. You just got to be careful. Obviously this is a baby situation. So, I would definitely say, hey, re-reference an article like this. Go ahead and Google it if this is a kind of thing you purchase. Obviously, yeah, throw that shit away. Hopefully you can get like a refund or something like that if you can take it back. I don't know. But as I segue out of here, I don't have anything really profound to say, but there are some like other news things that I kind of wanted to hit that I'm seeing on like a bit of the ABC ticker. Justice, and they're talking about Supreme Court here, Supreme Court Justice. Justice temporarily pauses order requiring Trump administration to fully fund SNAP. So this is a thing that took place the other day. I think this took place over the weekend. And essentially, this triggered a whole thing from the Trump administration because this had got like a judge said, "Hey, no, you have to fund SNAP," and they gave like the half measure, and then the judge was like, "No, did you have to fund all of it?" And so, okay, this goes up to the Supreme Court, and then, or before that, at some point in between, I'm getting this a little bit wrong, but bear with me here. Playing a bit of telephone. The states go ahead and say, hey, okay, we're going to give SNAP funding to people. Like, obviously people need it. They've been like, we're a week into the month, people need this stuff. And, they dole whatever they can out. And then the Trump administration, after getting this win in the Supreme Court, they immediately say, hey, you have to go get that money back. You have to claw the money back. So it now is triggering a whole other legal fucking conundrum. And I cannot believe that this is what the administration wants states to do, which is essentially say, hey, get the money you gave back. We told you not to give that out. You should have waited for the Supreme Court to have a ruling, and you didn't. You waited for that. You went off of just what that judge said. Okay, federal or not, fuck that. You know how we move. Like, there's no compassion out of this place. And mind you, maybe some of the people who maybe are hearing this from Fox News or whatever, seeing this shit on the headlines, they're thinking, well, this doesn't affect anyone I know or care about. This only affects insert dog whistle here or something. No, man, this affects so many people across the United States of fucking America. So many people, maybe you know them, maybe you fucking don't, but they're nearer than you fucking think. And they're struggling because of this fucking thing. You know what I mean? It is wild that the situation has spiraled to this place, and essentially the Trump administration is being so fucking ravenous, so fucking evil. Like, no, how dare you let that money go out? Like, as if they're fighting for the principle of it all or something. And it's like, these are your people. These are your American citizens. And they're like, yeah, you guys give that money back. Anyway, I'm explaining this in a very sloppy way. I just wanted to mention that because I don't know if I was going to get the specific part of the story in, and I just want to talk about that. A bit of the government shutdown. We are still waiting a bit on the rigmarole of it all. The House is coming back to vote, so we'll see if they actually can get this on board, because obviously the Senate did and got kicked back down. If it goes and the House approves it, then Trump's just got to sign it, and then government's going to be back online, ready to go. But yeah, I mean, I still stand by what I said in the previous episode. Fuck both sides on this fucking bullshit. Totally down and fine if you're mad at any and all of the Democrats, as you should, because they fucking fucked us from start to finish on this shit. But yeah, really, was there anything else I kind of wanted to cover here that I see on the little scroll here? No, I think we're good. I kind of packed this episode in a little bit weird. And once again, sorry for the brain fart. We started talking about Wendy's, and then I started talking about AI, and I got that point that I was thinking about earlier, and I wanted to talk about it, and then I just this brain fart. But hey, this is real. This is raw. There's never going to be a script. I refuse. You just gotta let me fucking fly, okay? And sometimes I die on the episode, but then sometimes I fucking bring it back. Sometimes I save it, okay? All right? I'm Isaiah, not Icarus, okay? Anyway, that's it. That's all I have for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. I will add, we are still adding to the extra thoughts. So I'm not saying I'm going to do that as an everyday thing. I did see it. We got a couple of views, and I was like, okay. Someone's looking at my notes. It does kind of feel like a journal. I feel like it's starting to do that already, but it's nice to talk about any kind of side thoughts or just like things I might have mentioned, forgot to mention in an episode. It's just a nice little fun little sloppy scribble pad. I don't know. I've kind of wanted something like this for a while, and I just usually do stuff like this on my phone. So it's kind of nice to just have that experience and just kind of have that there for the family and friends to look at, I guess, my newsies. So there you go. It's a little thing for you if you would like to look at it. If not, obviously, don't worry about it. The tip jar is still the tip jar, but just figure a little something there for you. Anyway, free ways to hit me up as andrews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Free ways to hit me up. Or did I already say that? No, I did. Oh my gosh. I'm just so spaced out shoddy. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. It can be fun. 5 stars on Spotify. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Would you kindly? But yeah, if you don't do any of that stuff, if you don't subscribe to the Patreon, you're just a raw listener. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. I fuck with you for that. That means you've made it all the way here to hear me say this shit. That's so fucking cool. That's so cool. Thank you. Like, at the end of the day, this is something I do. Yes, it's a selfish thing for myself since my name's on the goddamn podcast title, but like, I do it for the people who do listen. Like, I do want to give you a product that, like, for better or worse, it's something that you can go, damn, like, all right, cool. Maybe I learned a little bit of something here, or at least it put me on a path to, like, checking this out. I'm maybe curious, like, how right or wrong Isaiah was on this or whatever. Like, I'm thankful that you let me in. You know what I mean? That you let me hang out with you in the car, that you let me hang out with you at work, that, I don't know. However, I'm being, partaken. Thank you for letting me in. Thank you for having me. So that really does mean that means the most. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.